Damn, we haven't done a clever intro in almost 2 weeks now. And it's not going to start anytime soon, everybody. Somebody in the YouTube comments got in there and they said that on one of our last videos, I think maybe it was the Gigabyte motherboard, they were like, this video was awful, the camera was shaky. And that guy, he made me so upset that I went out and bought this. Dude.
Now don't lie, that was just an excuse.
This is a $17,000 tripod.
You've been talking about wanting one of those since I've known you, so I'm skeptical.
I got a Miller Air. Do you guys want to know how it is? Does anybody actually care about that? I was thinking about just showing a 2-minute video of how cool it is, but we got so many other videos. I don't know if we'll do that or not, or if we'll just start using it. But yeah, this is what I'm going to be using from now on. Whenever we do a video, I'm going to sit on this thing and make the videos. So they won't be nearly as shaky, but they'll still be pretty shaky. Oh, I only listen to what I want to listen to, and then I use that to justify what I was going to do anyway. So that's how this works. All right. We should probably talk about things that are happening. Right now, we are giving away 1 video game per week. The first contest is going on right now, and the link is in the description. Say thanks to Digital Storm for doing this. And yeah, just go ahead, and there's lots of different ways to enter this contest. You guys can go over there. And while you're there, just you know, just because Digital Storm is being nice enough to give away the game, it's coming out of their pocket. So, you know, do them a favor and check out their website. It's the least you guys could do. All right, moving right along. T-shirts are doing things. Yeah, there you go, epicpants.com. I thought it was really funny in the comments of the last YouTube video. Somebody was like, "Oh my God, I just realized they don't sell pants on epicpants.com." It's like, we've been doing this for like ever. Somebody just was like, it's like I could almost see the epiphany happen, and like the, oh my God, after all this time. Anyway, yeah, and then now it's time to get into the actual stuff that's happening in the technology world. In the last episode, we talked exclusively, almost, well, it was 99% all X99. But this one's not going to have any X99, is it? Or do we have X99 to talk about?
If you've been living under a rock, X99 is the new platform from Intel. That's the enthusiast platform, 8 cores, DDR4. Oh my God, you should go just check out those videos. Just go. It's fine. We'll wait.
And there's more coming. But anyway, right now we're going to talk about IKEA, because that is technology type stuff, and it's really nerdy. Not really, but I know a lot of you guys shop at IKEA, and I know a lot of you guys have been to IKEA. But did you know that most of the images they use in their advertisements, I think it's something like 75% of them, are computer generated. And they use these 4K by 4K images, and they pull from a bank of over 25,000 individual items. And this guy right here, this guy sitting here with his glasses on and all that, he creates every single image. Not really, but that's the idea of how it works. Did you know that these things were computer generated?
Not the IKEA drawings, but there's Autodesk, I think, makes a product called Revit, and I've had to deal with that before, and I was very impressed with the there's cabinet software and like kitchen makeover software where it actually has manufacturer part numbers of things, and then you can get a photorealistic 3D rendering like before somebody remodels your kitchen in order to see what it'll look like. So I'm really surprised that this technology has trickled down to IKEA. Pretty soon we'll see it in Walmart.
Oh, God forbid. I mean, look at this. The lighting is even great. They've simulated natural sunlight coming through a window at like an angle. It looks like it's about 2 or 3 o'clock in this picture here from the angle of the sunlight. But, I mean, why are we using the Unreal Engine? We could be using the IKEA engine for video games. Come on, guys. They've already got a huge library of assets. How awesome would it be to have deathmatch with tons of IKEA furniture all over the place? That stuff blows up really fast, especially you know, all that particle board. The bullets pass right through it, so it could be you know, interesting. There would be almost no cover though, since the bullets just go right through everything. I don't know where I'm going with that. Let's just move on to the next thing. Claire McCaskill, she's a Democratic senator from Missouri, says that now she wants police officers to wear body cameras at all times, and I think that's a pretty good idea, but not for the same reason that she thinks it's a good idea for. She thinks it's a good idea because a lot of times she feels like, you know, when you go online and you see a video of a cop just curb stomping someone, She's like, well, all you're really seeing is that little clip of them getting curb stomped. You're not seeing the part where, before, where a whole bunch of people ganged up on the police officer and tried to kill him or whatever, So she wants to make sure that we can see the whole picture here. And if the police officer is wearing a camera, then we'll really know that they're truly innocent. I think that's kind of the direction she's going. I think we should have these cameras on police officers because I bet their behavior will completely change if they know that they are being watched. We got to have somebody watching the watchers.
I would agree with that. I think that this sort of pervasiveness, okay, if you look at the technology, there's no reason everybody, this is really popular in Europe, there's no reason everybody in America shouldn't already have the front and rear cameras in their car. You can get those on eBay for $150, $200 now. 32 gigabyte card will store days of video. This is basically the wearable version of that. It's really not prohibitively expensive. I just hope that there would be some sort of technological protection that would prevent the video from disappearing, because the dash cam footage in a lot of jurisdictions right now has a tendency to disappear and go missing when it would exonerate or do things for people. So I'd like a personal version of this as well.
We're kind of behind as far as the whole dash cam thing goes. We've got to catch up with Russia. We've got a lot of nonsense to do just to keep up with Russia. We need like some dash cam footage of people like jumping from car to car while dodging bears and stuff to really keep up with what Russia's doing right now. So I just want to see all the dash cam compilations, because everyone right now just says, oh my God, Russia and driving. Drivers in Russia are crazy. But I bet if they could see drivers in the backwoods of Kentucky or drivers driving through the middle of nowhere, I bet they would be like, oh my God, drivers in the middle of nowhere America are insane. So that's
my favorite GIF ever is it's dash cam footage converted to a GIF. It's a car driving along, and somebody photoshopped a blue tortoise shell going into it, and the back wheel popped off. It was apparently like a car that runs on gas or something, and it exploded. But somebody photoshopped a blue tortoise shell going underneath it. It was great.
I gotta see this. Hold on, I'm looking this up right now. All right, so I think we could sit here and probably watch this for, I don't know, a few hours at least. It's so ridiculous.
So how did this happen?
Why would
Mario
they make a car
Kart.
Yeah, someone in the comments was like, "What actually happened?" I was like, "Somebody shot a blue shell." What do you think happened? Yeah. Okay, let's move along and talk about whatever else is on the list here. There's a really interesting website here that shows you what internet censorship around the world looks like, and it's an interactive map. It's ivpn.net. You can go here and just hover over all the different parts of the world and see where it's not free, partly free, or free. There we go. I should open that up. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. There we go. It says that it's free in the United States of America. That's pretty interesting. And in Australia, it says it's free. I also think it's interesting. It says it's free in the United Kingdom. But what about that all that nonsense they have going on now with their internet blacklist? That's not entirely free to me. It's kind of like partly free, right?
Yeah, it's like, let's block the Pirate Bay and blah, blah, blah. So,
I don't know. I feel like if you're blocking one website, then you should lose your free status, and it should go to partly free. So I think a lot of these websites that are free, if they're blocking any websites, I mean, other than stuff that makes you go to jail, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. This cat. You will watch what I tell you to watch. The best cat ever. Where did your camera go? Oh, there it is. Your camera disappeared for a minute. All right. We talked about the Keurig Coffee DRM fiasco a while back. So Keurig had the next generation of their coffee machines coming out, and they were going to code their pods so that you could have quality assurance, so that you could make sure you're getting the right size coffee. That way, if you put a certain size pod in there, they were basically trying to make it sound like they were just trying to do quality assurance, but really what they were doing was trying to keep every other company from making compatible pods, so that they're the only companies who could make coffee, and then you would have to go to them and buy all your coffee. Well, their DRM has already been cracked, and several different coffee companies are working on their own coffee pods This is the K Cup, is what it's called. And Mother Parker's is going to be making some pods, and I believe there's another company who's already one. Treehouse has already been working on pods, and they actually sued Green Mountain Coffee over this DRM nonsense with pods. You know, I see a lot of parallels here going on in the business world. Instead of innovating and creating new products that people really want, what happens is people establish themselves, or businesses establish themselves, and then they do everything they can to stop everyone else from competing. And that's the worst kind of capitalism. That's the kind of capitalism that should be illegal, and that's the kind of capitalism that somehow, the governments are allowing to continue. I don't understand why different governments around the world allow this thing to continue. Maybe some countries are better than others, but yeah. Why is this stuff allowed to continue? I don't understand. Like, monopolies should be a bad thing.
TechDirt says that the court case, if Green Mountain, the people that own the DRM rights here, the people that created the DRM, sue, that would be an interesting court case. But I don't think it would be, because there have already been court cases where the copy protection was extremely weak. We're talking about ROT 13, which is basically rotating, alphabetic characters, adding 13. So if you have A, you add 13 to that, and then whatever letter that is.
And that
is, yeah. And the courts have said, oh, that's circumventing a protection device. And it's like, really? So I don't think that would really go well for them in courts. But that's just how messed up things are in America. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is pointing at us and laughing, except for Australia, where it's worse there.
Why, guys? What's happening in Australia? Why does it have to be so bad down there, man? I feel so bad for all of our viewers in Australia. Whenever I read anything about like the Australian internet, the situations with stuff like this, it just, man. You know what? We should go down to let's go down to Australia, and I don't know what we're gonna do. Just go to we're here now. What do we do? Let's save people? I don't know. All right, this ties into Comcast, because Comcast is also fighting to keep all the competition away from them, and they've done a lot of things to, I guess, change the ways they describe certain technologies. For instance, Comcast is now saying that they do not have data caps. They're calling it something more along the lines of data threshold, and they have a new idea for data caps. They rolled out data caps to a lot of their southern markets, where you had, like, I believe it was 300 gigabytes, and that was the cap. And then for every 50 gigabytes of data that you went above that, it was $10. But now they're finding that that's not going to make them enough money. And even though they're saying, like, the way they're marketing this is like, well, we need to create certain packages for certain types of users. So what they're going to do now is they're going to change the data cap. And what they want to do is, first off, just like Time Warner's been doing, hey, if you'll settle for a 5 gigabyte data cap, we're going to give you $5 off your bill, and then you'll just pay $1 per gigabyte for all the overages. How's that? That'll be great. People end up paying a lot more than they would. Comcast likes that idea, but what I think they really want to do here is they want to create a few different types of data bandwidth plans here. And they want to have one plan that's for the people who use a lot of data, and it's going to cost them a lot, because they want people who use different amounts of data to pay different amounts of money, because they think that's the way that they're going to make a lot of money, number one. But the deeper thing here that I think they're trying to do is they are trying to really, they're trying to mess with all of the online video providers out there. We're talking like, they kind of own part of Hulu, but Netflix and all the other things like that people use on a daily basis. Those things are threats to cable, and with the ratio or the rates that people are cutting, what should I say? They're just the amount of people who are cutting the cord, for cable. They're kind of worried about that. I mean, it's last year and this year, more people have been dropping their cable service than ever before. So they're just doing everything they can to basically make you pay through the ass for your online video. That way cable is more attractive, and that way their services that are going to be coming down the road, or their services that they have now, will be really attractive when they say, hey, this doesn't count against your bandwidth cap. And they're calling it data thresholds, and they're trying to spin it in a way that makes it sound really good to the FCC. And the worst part of this is a lot of this is probably going to happen. It makes me really scary. Did I sum that up in a good enough way?
Yeah, this is basically just it's a PR move to let's call a spade here, guys. But at the same time, I mean, digital delivery is something these companies need to embrace. I mean, How dumb is a set-top box? Flipping through the channels, looking for a guide. That's like the dumbest piece of technology ever. When you have, I mean, even things like Apple TV or like a Nexus 7, it's like, I'm going to have a Nexus 7. I'm going to browse through TV shows. I'm going to find the one I want. I'm going to hit it, and then it's going to play on the big screen. Or however you want to do that. Remote control, it is complete and utter nonsense. It is not user-friendly. It is dumb technology. It is slow. The set-top boxes they have ads that they blast you with. It's so dumb. It's completely dumb.
Let's take this, right? And let's couple this together with all of the congestion problems that have been popping up lately. You can't get on Netflix unless you're using a VPN. You can't watch your YouTube videos unless you're using a VPN. Everything is completely congested. So they are actually harming those streaming services. And Netflix even told the FCC, hey, Comcast is causing people to leave our service and we are losing money because of the congestion that they are creating. So take that and then couple it with this, where they make it really expensive. If you want to watch a lot of online video, you're going to be paying a lot for it. And why the hell has not the FCC, the Department of Justice, somebody should have stepped in by now and said, what the hell are you guys doing? This is completely anti-competitive. This kind of behavior shouldn't be tolerated. What the hell are you guys doing? You know, why has nobody stepped in? What the hell?
A lot of the Comcast apologists say that, oh, there's no network on Earth that can handle this much data and digital delivery and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that the analog versions of these broadcasts use many, many orders of magnitude more bandwidth than the digital versions, which is one reason why a lot of cable providers, to support more channels, have moved from a completely analog broadcast to a completely digital broadcast. If we stopped digital television broadcasts altogether and used that for an on-demand medium, we would have exponentially more bandwidth available on the existing crappy copper infrastructure. But if you rolled out fiber, you could take over the world with fiber. I mean, every house could have a 40 gigabit connection, and you could push a hell of a lot of data, a hell of a lot of video down a 40 gig connection.
I mean, especially now, like you said, it's all digital. So that's the thing that they're really ignoring right now. The fact is that they've got this huge chunk of just digital bandwidth that they're wasting for cable that no one really cares about in this day and age. Why can't we have the choice to just like say, like, hey, listen, all that bandwidth that could be coming to me, I want that all for internet.
Your ISP is doing something wrong if Netflix is faster through a VPN than natively.
Yeah, seriously. That gives me a good chance to plug our VPN, guys. Go check out our website. If you go to tech support, it's techsyndicate.com/tech support, spelled TEK. We have some VPN recommendations for you guys. And, you know, the last 2 days on Twitter, I've been on there, just whatever. People have been saying, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I recommend it or whatever, but people have been saying, like, hey, I'm watching the tech right now through the VPN for the first time, and oh my God, it's the fastest that the video is ever loaded. So that's just, it shouldn't be this way. But until they fix it or until things change, we got to use a VPN. So make sure you're using a VPN. I'm using one all day long, every day. That's my little rant on VPNs. And
you can do a VPN on your router too, and then all your devices will run through the VPN, which is kind of nice.
Or you can install it on your mobile devices. There's lots of different methods to do it. The router method is a good one. The one thing I don't like about the router method is every once in a while, you know, because a lot of times the VPNs, they use a small pool of IP addresses. You know, it depends on where you connect through. But sometimes someone will do something stupid, and get one of the IP addresses banned. And so then when you go to Twitch or something like that, it's like, oh, I can't get on because my VPN is on and this IP address has been banned. So you either have to connect to a different server from your VPN and then go that way, which may actually increase the latency if you're going through somewhere that's farther away, or you just have to turn off your VPN. So that's why I usually don't do it on a router level. But play around for a little while with the VPN. If you find that all the websites you go to are unaffected, maybe you don't use Twitch or whatever that's been banned, then you're good to go. Just put it on your router, and everything in the entire house will be protected with the VPN. All right, let's talk about Comcast. they say that they're against competition because they're trying to protect the poor people. Have you seen this article?
Yeah, I don't even. We really probably should do a special on the ISP situation in America and how ridiculous it is. So basically, there's a bunch of these articles, and the arguments range from the absurd to, do you really expect anyone to buy that? Holy crap, they're actually buying that argument. I don't even understand. there are other cable ISPs that want to roll out infrastructure upgrades, and Comcast is saying, no, we should not let these companies roll out these infrastructure upgrades until they can service everybody in this franchise. So like if I run an ISP and I want to offer service in an area that competes with Comcast, Comcast is saying, well, you can't actually offer service until you can offer service to everybody in that entire franchise, as opposed to the people that are convenient for you. And the reason that they're doing that is because a lot of local cities will offer a franchise to a single cable company in exchange for a promise that that cable company wire the entire municipality. And so Comcast is saying, well, you made us promise, you should make them promise as well. And it's like, that doesn't really track. I don't know that that's a fair argument.
It's a mess. I don't want to spend too much time on this because, guys, I know a lot of you guys overseas and that sort of thing get sick of hearing about it. But it is important because it does trickle and it does go to other parts of the world. And a lot of people are watching this nonsense and saying, hey, if they get away with it, we should be able to do the same thing here. So it is important.
This kind of thing has been happening in Australia for years behind closed doors, and it's basically a dismantling of infrastructure in order to prop up existing business models because, hey, you can't watch video on the internet if the internet flakes out every 5 minutes.
Yep. And you know what they're doing instead of, it's the powers that be trying to hold on to power. Oh my God. I mean, it seems kind of obvious whenever you look at things like that. Of course, the powers that be are going to try to hold on to power, but instead of trying to hold on to power by innovating, they're going to try to hold on to power by doing what they know. This is what they know is what they're going to do. They're not going to try to do something new because that requires a lot more effort. So right now they've got 52 mayors from different municipalities around the country writing letters to the FCC saying, "Hey, this is bad. We want to make sure that Comcast is our only thing in town. We don't want any municipal broadband." So that's kind of scary. And then we also have this article here called "How Big Telecom Smothers Municipal Broadband," and I'll let you get into that because you sent that one over.
Well, it's just another example of very, very anti-competitive behavior. These ISPs have gotten so large and so profitable, and we are on the precipice of a merger, that they are able to spend so much time, lobbying these mayors and having them write to the FCC and making up this stuff and fighting against municipal internet like we see in Chattanooga and Maine. And so, Comcast and Time Warner are spending all this time not being ISPs, but trying to manipulate the government and opinion and enlisting all these people to help them in their nefarious deeds. And it's like, guys, you're an ISP. Your business is to run an ISP. It is not to do all these shady backroom deal lobbying things. I mean, how can somebody look at this and not see that it's the most corrupt thing ever and call for an investigation? How can we even consider to allow two of these companies that have these really, really anti-competitive, anti-social behaviors merge? It seems crazy because they're just going to be even more powerful and people are going to hate them even more, to say nothing of their dysfunction as companies.
Last on our list here is, I guess we could talk about the Time Warner outage, but I don't really want to talk about that much. There was a huge Time Warner outage this week, and it's over now, but nationwide Time Warner outage, and they said it was a backbone problem. I wonder if Comcast is going to use that as another reason to be like, listen, Time Warner is huge, but they need the help really, really severely, so let us take over.
This kind of thing didn't happen when DARPA invented the internet because there were multiple providers and it was a healthy competition and it was a healthy capitalistic, whatever. It wasn't like, we had an article about this with AT&T. It's like Randy upgraded to DHCP server and it took out the Eastern Seaboard. Well, this Time Warner outage was the same thing. It was scheduled maintenance. Something went wrong and the internet was down. And it's like, Randy, what did you do?
It's like, I plugged in the red cord instead of the blue cord, and it's like, boom, everything blew up. Couldn't do anything about it.
And for those of you at home wearing tinfoil hats, this should give you pause, because it's like, hey, how does the NSA monitor the entire internet? That's not feasible. Well, if Randy can take it out doing a botched router firmware upgrade, I'm pretty sure they only need to put one monitoring box at wherever the hell Randy was doing that work, and then they can monitor the entire, global whatever of the ISP.
He switched out from Cisco to Realtek, and then didn't work. I mean, Realtek, there's nothing wrong with Realtek. They're just not enterprise. There's not enterprise grade stuff. Anyway, let's talk about Amazon. Amazon purchased Twitch, but I thought Google purchased Twitch because all the technology websites said that it was confirmed.
It seems Twitch pulled a rope-a-dope on us and was in fact acquired by Amazon, and not by Google as originally reported. So what's that mean for us? Well, ads for cosmetics, food, candy, and perhaps other questionable items only discussed behind closed doors while you either stream yourself some games or watch a Dota tournament. The horizon may appear bleak to many, but as for me, I finally get to do something I've always wanted to do for a long time. He slid his arms around her in a tight embrace, his towering form dwarfing hers. She felt at ease, though, safe, finally at home. Little did she know that the flickering monitor before him would be a distraction, so she was faced with a dilemma. Either gain his attention, or let him watch that Dota 2 tournament.
So, maybe this is the lesser of two evils. I'm at a point right now where I kind of want some feedback for the audience because I don't know exactly what to make of this. I don't know what Amazon could possibly do with Twitch. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to use it. I've got a lot of ideas, but they're wild speculation, and wild speculation is fun. So I guess we could do that, and I want to know what you guys think could happen with Twitch. My biggest fear with Google was that it was going to fall under the same kind of copyright nonsense that we have on YouTube, and we're already seeing a lot of that on Twitch. And a lot of people were attributing that to Google's now got a hold of Twitch, and so now, of course, songs and that sort of thing are no longer allowed on Twitch. And, everything's DMCA going crazy. But now that Amazon has it, are they going to be doing the same kind of DMCA nonsense? Are songs going to be disallowed? Or is Amazon going to allow people to use a large library of music that also links to their music that they can sell and download? I'm not sure why Google couldn't do that, but I don't know. What are a couple of ideas that you think that Amazon could... what could they do with Twitch?
This was so far in left field for me that I have not really had a chance to consider the wider implications. I sort of would like to hear from the audience, but the short term, it seems like that Twitch is going to hell in a handbasket, at least as far as the short term goes with the changes that they've made and the complaints that we see online. And our members have been like, oh my God, they're doing the dumbest things I've ever seen. And I don't know if that's Amazon's lack of experience or Amazon's paranoia around getting sued for the copyright stuff. I'm not really sure.
I'm not even sure because, that could have just been Twitch by itself because I'm not sure if Amazon had anything to do with that. Maybe there was talks going on behind closed doors that we do not know about, and maybe Bezos was like, these changes must be made before we can acquire Twitch for $970 million. But I have no idea. And Twitch has been kind of going in the wrong direction for a while. When things get mainstream, it's usually time to go find something else, I find, because a lot of times the finer things in life are not mainstream, and once something's mainstream, it must become soft,
How very hipster of you.
Well, you know what I mean. Twitch, they have to add all these crappy features. Like, nobody needs backgrounds. All you really need is a stupid stream and a chat. What else do you need, really? Now they've got all these, they keep adding things and changing things and making things strange, and that's not what we need. We just want to watch people play video games, and we want to chat at the same time, and we want to send private messages, and not much else. Maybe a few other things, but not much else.
The 4chan of streaming, if you will. Oh,
yeah,
wait, that's
exactly.
Vine.
So anyway, you were saying you might be able to do something for the website. Maybe we'll do that, but who knows? Anyway, we want to hear from you guys. All right, next up on the list, and I want to kind of joke around about this. Well, actually, the first thing I want to say is Good Old Games. They have a number of games. I don't think I even told you about this window, but they have a number of games that are no longer going to be for sale. So for the next 2 days, you can get all those games at a very discounted price. And there are some really good games on here, like the Gothic series is on here. Penumbra and Amnesia. You guys need to get that game. It's only the $3.99 and $1.99. Spellforce, pretty good games. I haven't played Guild, so I have no idea. Painkiller Black Edition, if you guys like Doom and games like Doom and Serious Sam and that sort of thing. Painkiller is like kind of like a darker version of Serious Sam, but not quite as dark as Doom or Blood or anything, but decent graphics and everything. The first Red Faction game I highly recommend, so grab that one. It's only like $1.99 or some crap like that. Red Faction 2, who cares about? I haven't played many of these other games. Silver is a pretty nerdy game. Let's see here. Jack and Keen 2, if you guys want to play like a click adventure that's kind of silly. It's pretty good. The Aquanox games are all right. I have not played Darkfall, and I haven't played any of the rest of these games. So yeah, but But the thing is that they're now trying to expand into a lot of different markets, and some of these games, for some reason, are just not going to come along as they expand. I think that's the bottom line here. Also, they now have movies on Good Old Games. So if you guys are not members of Good Old Games, we have a link for you guys, and it helps us because we get like 1 penny per game that you guys purchase. So because their games are so cheap, and we get like 3% of it or whatever. So it's really cool because the Good Old Games guys are like, hey, thanks very much, and I'm a big supporter of Good Old Games. I prefer it to Steam. So that's
we can get more tripods.
Yeah, exactly. Little tripods like Gorilla Pods and stuff. All right, now I want to joke around for a little bit about the PC Gamer top 100 list. I remember back as a wee lad reading PC Gamer. We're way back in the Gary Whitta and even before days. Was he the first? I don't remember if he was the first or not. I think Gary Whitta was the first editor-in-chief. I may be wrong. And then back when the V took over and all that sort of thing. I used to generally agree with their top 100 list, but I found a lot of problems in this top 100 list. And guys, this is all opinion. And I know a lot of you guys are going to yell and be like, it's all opinion, you can just ignore it. But here is my thing. A lot of people look to PC Gamer to find out what games they should check out, what games, that in history that they've missed. And a lot of people who are coming to the PC platform from the worthless console platform, and maybe they're building a new system, and they just want to know, what games are on PC that I really, really need to play. Well, this list is pretty good. You can look at it and get some good ideas, but their top 10 is kind of rough, and there's 100 games on this list, and in the top 10, let me just go ahead and show you guys here. This is ridiculous. In the top 10, there's 2 Mass Effect games, and Dark Souls is number 10. No, Dark Souls might not even be in the top 100. It's whatever. Mass Effect 3. I mean, Mass Effect 1 was supposedly the better one. I didn't really like any of those games. It was like playing a movie. BioShock is way up there. And System Shock 2 is way down the list. System Shock 2 was way better than BioShock. BioShock was interesting. Deus Ex, of course. Half-Life 2 is on there. And then Mass Effect 2 is the #1 game. Morrowind is not even on the list. Oblivion is. No Morrowind? That was the best Elder Scrolls game. Mass Effect 2 is the #1 game, really. And you know what's funny? Half-Life 2 is on the list, on the entire 100 list. We've got multiple Mass Effect games, like I said. We've got Portal 1 and Portal 2, but there is no mention of Half-Life 1. Arguably one of the best PC games ever made, not even on the list. That kind of scares me. It's a sad thing. Doom is on the list, thankfully, way down, but and a lot of the other games that are on the list I'm kind of whatever about, but it makes me feel like I hate top 10 lists, top 50 lists, top 20 lists. I feel like it's all clickbait and opinion, and there's nothing provable about it. But at the same time, I really want to recommend some games to either new gamers, gamers who want a history lesson, gamers who just want to know what the absolute best games in history are. And I think we might actually be more qualified at this point than PC Gamer themselves, and that's kind of bragging a bit, but really,
this backwater, we don't know what we're talking about. YouTube channel, what? No, it's a little bit neckbeard of me, but I think a version of this that maybe grouped related games together somehow. That's going to be tough because there are publishers that have multiple different games, like we're Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2, and then Portal, and I don't know that those should necessarily go on the same list. Like BioShock was, I would say 50-50 a game meant to be provocative and a genuinely interesting game. Whereas BioShock Infinite was like, yeah, let's take that formula and do it again. And so it's like 90% let's try to be provocative and 10% genuinely interesting. Not that it was a bad game or that there was anything wrong with it. It's just that when you play other games, like, the Monkey Island games and Day of the Tentacle, which were both on this list, those are genuinely awesome, genuinely interesting games. And when you talk about games like Amnesia and some of the other ones that are on Good Old Games, those are genuinely interesting, creative, unique games full of good storytelling. Even a goofy game like Day of the Tentacle, when you stack that up next to the original Maniac Mansion is just as goofy and just as over the top, but it's a little bit more opaque because you have to get into it. And Day of the Tentacle was sort of a more watered down version of that. I think they did that with Dragon Age too. I don't really care for EA, but Dragon Age Origins was a lot of fun, but a lot of people like Dragon Age 2, but it's got simplified combat, and they made a lot of other changes. But if you knew how to play Dragon Age Origins, it was a lot of fun, but it turned off a lot of people because it was sort of complicated. And so, in terms of games as works of art versus games playability versus games genuinely interesting story and experience, this list is kind of schizophrenic, because it's like, okay, if they're going to rank that one here, then this one shouldn't rank there because they're going for one of these categories, and so it's just a mess.
Okay, I'm sorry, but Fallout 3 is ahead of Fallout New Vegas. No, Fallout New Vegas was a much better game. And then I think what we need to do is we need to create a list that should be like we need to create like a homework assignment for the staff of PC Gamer, because they're obviously young and they obviously haven't played a lot of games. Battlefield
wasn't on there.
Battlefield 3 and 4 were on there, but Battlefield 2 was not. So it's like they've just gone for all the new games, but somehow the few old games have sneaked their way into this list. So
see, that's why things like that, like the Battlefield games, those should be grouped together and count as one spot, and then you can sort of debate the merits and be like, oh, you know, Doom 3, the technology was amazing, but Doom had, you know, just incredible replayability, and the level design was amazing, and blah, blah, blah. But Doom 3, the lighting, the shadows, and the scariness. But then when they adopted that to, like, the Fear games, the Fear was genuinely scary, and then they were like, we're onto something, let's redo that for Fear 2, and it was less interesting, and, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Why is Hearthstone on this list? Max Payne 2 is on here. I don't see. Oh, there it is. 38 Fallout. Okay, we got Fallout on there. Okay. And Planescape Torment is on there too. So this page here has a bunch of good stuff on it. I almost had a freak out session there, but it's okay. We're a little bit better there. But they still have no Half-Life. Anyway, maybe we'll make a game, make a list of games that we recommend, because we do have, you know, coming up some of the Kill Your Console videos and some other videos toward the end of the year that will help you guys get into the PC world. The water's fine, and you know, you can play just like anything almost on a PC. So we might make some recommendation lists for you guys, but different categories, like you said, Wendell's probably a good idea. Like if you like RPGs, you got to try these games. If you like action games, you got to try these games, because I'm not really qualified to talk about RTS or MOBAs, because I don't like them very much. So we'll have someone else do that list. Anyway, I think that's about all we should talk about today. We got into gaming, even though that's not a normal thing for us for this episode anyway. But yeah, that's it. Be sure to enter the contest, win any game up to $60 on Steam. And if you guys like the content, want to help, be sure to become a member of Tech Support, because it's awesome. And you guys are awesome, and everything's awesome. And this is the awesome ending. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.